Oh, it's not that long. Okay.
Today.
Hang on. Let me get set up here again. Alright, you guys. Before we get into this, make sure to stretch. Grab some water. Have a drink of something. We've been sitting here for about 15 or so minutes already. Yeah. Maybe this will make you guys feel even more manly. Because we're going to watch some Lego building. It's hot. Drink. That's right. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it is hot. So you should be keeping hydrated. Alright.
Today, I want to try and build some of the cool creature designs from Monster Hunter, using only Lego.
Heck yeah! Oh, that looks so cool, though.
Let's start with our rideable secret dinosaur. This printed tile is perfect for the murder lizard.
Murder lizard.
I'll steal a minifigure bandana to form some wrinkles around the eye.
Oh, that's so cool.
Then,
I like Lego, and I'm very fascinated when people make their own builds and stuff. It's one of the things that I've realized very recently that I'm super into. And like, I get judged very hard by Mr. Husband. We'll be laying in bed, and I'll be scrolling YouTube shorts as we're going to sleep, and I will stop and watch, because there's a couple master builders that I follow, because I really like their videos. And he's just like, I don't get it. Why do you like these? And I'm like, I find them fascinating, okay? Why do you like your fucking zit-popping videos? Leave me alone!
for some scales, we can employ this leaf part. I'll connect the eyes together using some 45-degree bars so that they point forwards. I think the most important thing to get right in a creature build is its
exactly.
head, and the eyes go a long way towards that. So in order to get them looking sufficiently angry, I'd like to add some eyebrows, which can frame out the eyes. Let's see how this pair of slopes looks here. That's better.
Like, I don't like watching people build, like, pre-made sets. That's never been something I've been super into, but, like, this, where he's making a build himself, like, this is super cool to me. Like, it's like you've been given all these parts, and you can make something with it, and they do, and they make such cool things! Ah!
This seems like the perfect opportunity to introduce a horn. And to get this positioned into the head at the correct angle, I'm going to build up a mess of bars and clips. Although posing this can be a bit tedious, I'm able to position everything just right thanks to the range of motion afforded to me with all those connections. For our raptor's jaw, I'm going to start things off with this dragon lower jaw. To get this beak detail positioned in the right spot, I'll use this illegal clip technique.
Illegal clip technique!
The dimensions here work out perfectly thanks to our illicit technique. We're going to need another technique to span this gap here and afford us a connection point for the jaw. But before we can get to that, we can focus on building up some structure for the head. This white axle is weirdly super rare, having only appeared in 7 sets, including Gadok and Kadok, one of the coolest early Bionicle sets. These inkwell parts can go here, although they don't actually connect. Instead, they space things out properly so that we can sandwich them between the jaw to form our own connection.
Nice.
It's pretty sturdy. We can add a few more feathery details here to cover off some of that technique.
I think it's one of the reasons I like orc players so much, because they'll do like their own custom builds and
Now,
stuff
we can
on
connect
things.
together the 2 sub-assemblies we've built up. We're starting to get somewhere. An upper jaw seems like the next thing we need here. For the beak part, I want to use a pair of these finger parts. And how could we connect them together with anything other than this burnt hot dog?
Burnt hot dog!
We can build up the jaw from there and introduce a little of this mint color for some variety. Now we can attach this into the head. Things are looking pretty good, but I'd like to build up the upper jaw a little more. Let's construct a stiff upper lip for our dino. In this case, so that we can position things in the right spot, I'm going to use a bunch of clips and bars. These skeleton arms in particular are perfect because they're both a bar and a clip. We'll do some minor surgery here so that we can connect them in. Up next is time for some colorful plumage as a crest for our prehistoric chicken. Let's disassemble things temporarily to connect that in. We can partially cover the purple feathers with some blue ones to get some more variety. To connect those, we can use a T-bar and some droid arms. Then that whole assembly can connect back into place.
I like that.
Let's continue the feathers down the back of the Secret's head. I'll build up this plate with a tile and some clips. The blue feathers can clip in here, but we'll need to figure out something else for the purple feathers. Here, an Among Us plate and a skelly arm can allow for the feathers to swing into place. This assembly should also give us an opportunity to build up the back of our dino's head.
The illegal,
for that, we can use some dark green leaf parts
the
for some
illegal
scaly
building
details.
methods and stuff. It's because it's things that
A
could
rounded
possibly
plate in
break
this
the
D-snot
Lego,
plate
and
can
that's why
allow
they
the
don't
scales to
recommend
be
it.
connected in at an angle. Let's attach this assembly into the head, and then round things out by adding in our scales. Very
That
cool.
looks so cool.
Since this is a rideable dinosaur, I'm going to build up some armor on the top of its head, using this roof tile and some slopes. The gap in the rounded plate here can form a super weak connection with the clip from earlier, so let's attach that in. Although the connection is super weak, so I'm sure this won't be the last time I have to attach it in. In any case, that completes the Secret's head, and we can begin on its neck, where some of these fur parts can give us a nice feathered look. This Hero Factory armor add-on is one of those retired parts that I really wish LEGO would bring back and introduce in even more colors. It's such a useful and versatile part for creatures and characters. If they ever do bring it back in some way, switching out the rods for some clips, like they did with Star Wars shoulder armor, would make for such a useful part. In the meantime, I'll use the rod connections to attach this into the neck structure. I was initially wanting to use that mint color from earlier for this feathery detail, but I just had too much trouble with the parts that are available in that color. White, in contrast, has a ton of super useful feathery looking parts, which are perfect here. Let's connect that in. Up next, we need the dark green scaly side of the neck. We can expand our connection points by using a Technic brick and attaching some brackets to it. To the top side, I'll add some clips and cheese slopes. Then we can armor up the sides with these tiles.
I love the names of these parts too.
This large slope can be built up so that it's able to connect into the clips we added earlier. Next, I'll attach that into the feathery underbelly, and we can snap the whole thing into the head. With that added in, it's starting to look pretty good. To further continue the neck, I'd like to attach this pair of fur bits together. The best way to do this is with a technique I'm yoinking from the great Jaffa. This elastic band can weave through the feather bits in such a way that we get a really strong and stable connection between the two fur add-ons. Let's build up some structure to continue the neck build. For a little more feathery detail here, let's use some more of those add-on parts. A couple of clips will allow them to attach into place and round out this section of the feathers.
Nice, nice.
For the green scaly side of things, we can build up a similar structure to what we did last time. Then, let's attach that into place. We can extend the neck construction with this new section.
I like the inclusion of those sounds in this. Like, he has them where you can still hear the little snaps and stuff, but it's not like ASMR-y. So, I like this. I like this. This is looking so cool. Oh no!
I'm telling you, if these parts had clips instead of bar connectors, they'd be pretty unstoppable. Okay, let's reattach that head armor to complete this section of the build, and we can move on to building up some wings.
Wings!
Here, I'm going to start us off with some more of these feathery parts. I want to offset them like this, so that there's a little purple peeking out. To do that, let's add some clips to this snot brick. Then we can attach in the feathers. Let's continue the feathers with these leaf parts. For the wrist joint, we can use this small ball joint.
There's a
From here,
spider
we
on
can
my
continue
third
building up the
monitor.
wings.
Hang on 1 second, you guys. I'm sorry, little guy, but you can't. Yep, there you go. You can't be on my desk area. I flung them somewhere else. I just don't like them on my desk area. I'm fine with little spiders, but they don't need to be over here. You know? Not in my space.
Some more leaves work perfectly here to frame the large feather parts and continue the feather details. At the elbow joint, we can layer a blue and purple leaf to continue our motif of the purple just peeking out.
But I'm not working on anything
This
right
Lucky
now.
Minifigures flipper can extend that a little more. For the
There's the
upper
third
arms,
monitor.
I'll start by building some structure.
Because I have multiple monitors.
We'll need to create a bit of a gradient from green to blue.
Oh!
I really wish that our leaf parts came in the classic blue, but we'll have to make
They
do
were
with them
summoned
in
by the
azure and
Legos.
purple.
The snaps. Yeah, I can see that.
Let's connect the arm, and then we can tie it together with a couple
Yeah,
finishing
go on,
touches.
eat some bugs. They're tiny. There's a little tiny jumping spider.
With the wing done,
I
I
don't know
think
how
it's
many
time to
bugs
change
that guy will
gears
eat,
and
but
build our
once he
Palico
gets
cat
bigger,
companion.
maybe.
Let's start by building her nose and muzzle on this rounded plate. Another rounded tile can go here for the mouth. For
Oh,
the
I like
eyes, we
that.
can use some more printed tiles. To that, I'll attach a hollow stud and some clips. That'll give us a spot for the ears to attach in. Next, let's build up a connection point for those assemblies to clip in. Time to clip in those eyes. I'd say we're starting to look vaguely cat-like, but to really sell it, I'd like to add some whiskers. These lever parts are the perfect thing. We just need a better way of attaching a bunch of them in.
those.
First, let's liberate them from their bases.
When I was little, I had so many little levers that I would just put
Then,
levers on
we can
everything.
use this grill tile, which is the perfect size for the lever ends to fit into. That makes for some pretty good whiskers. Let's go ahead and build up the cheeks around them. These should go pretty well here. To attach them, let's add a snot brick, and then pop them into place. Let's build up a little assembly now to fill in the top of our cat's head. We can build up a ball joint connection for the neck as well. Next up, we can construct some arms. For those, let's use a socket for the shoulder joint and a hinge plate for the elbow. I'm wanting to introduce a little color variety here, so I've opted for gray on this arm, with just a couple of white patches here and there. Some tiles and cheese slope can add a little texture for the fur.
Interesting.
Now that we've got a complete arm, I went ahead and built up another, but I've made this one primarily white in contrast. Next, let's build a giant sword. We can start off with this Knight's Kingdom sword and add some axle connectors for the hilt. For some detail, we can use this blue elastic for the wrapping. Let's build up the pommel here as well.
Pommel!
With the comically large sword complete, let's go ahead and build up some feline legs. We can start with a Hero Factory bone and a shell. Then, this part can lend us a hand. Next, let's add some little cat boots with a connector, this tire, a robot hand, and an Among Us plate.
Is it because it's
For the
sus?
other leg, I went ahead and swapped in a gray shell, again for some more variety. For the cat's torso, this pair of old Throwbot torso parts is the perfect size and shape. We can connect them together and add a neck connection using this socket. Afterwards, let's thread in this axle to connect a pair of hip joints. For the shoulders,
Yeah.
this double socket
I
is a
agree.
great starting point. Let's add a connection for later. Then we can snap in some large and small ball joints for the shoulders. Doubling up ball joints like this really helps with the range of motion. This torso is looking a little too robotic, so we'll need to combat that as we build up the chest and tummy.
Tummy.
Let's use some of these quarter domes and a gray fur bit to round out the torso. Let's attach that in before building up a gigantic backpack for our furry friend. We can begin that with a pair of Technic panels in reddish brown. To fill this gap here, let's use a riot shield. We can use some rod ends, rods, and half pins to connect that. Now, we can continue the backpack with a Hero Factory shell. To connect it, let's use a ball joint and a rod end part. Then, that can all snap together. I'm building a little assembly here that we can use to connect this backpack to the cat's back. Up next, let's build a large roll for a tent, or whatever it is cats carry around. Let's roll up this gray cape. Some elastic bands can then secure the roll.
Nice.
To attach this in, we can slide a lightsaber rod behind the elastics, and then add some clips to it. That should fit nicely here, with the help of a pair of half pins.
Nice. Oh, I like that.
This slope can complete the top of the backpack, and then we can build up some contraption to hold the sword in the right spot. Some clips and bars should come to the rescue here. Let's attach that in, and then we can assemble our palico. We can begin by attaching our backpack via a pair of pin axles. Then we can clip in the head. The legs can attach in. Let's follow that up by attaching the arms before we turn our attention back to the dinosaur. In particular, I think it's time to make some vicious talons. For the base here, I'll use some lift arms, which I'll add a bunch of axle connectors to. Then, some connectors can form the beginnings of our talons. The main thing I'm trying to do here is to make sure that we have a large stable base, which will be able to hold the weight of our finished dinosaur build.
Yeah,
I'm probably making these claws slightly larger than they are in game, so that we have a stable base to build up from.
I mean, that makes sense.
Let's add a pair of ball joints for the ankle. For the lower leg, we can build up a strong skeleton based around some double sockets, which match up with the ball joints for the feet.
Nice.
Next, we can build up a strong joint using some rounded plates. To increase the strength of the joint, I'm putting some short rods in here as well. This makes for a joint, which is still quite compact. With the structure in place, let's start decorating the leg. First, we can steal these flippers from this diver to cover up the joint. Next, I want to add in some feather details. We can attach it by using this Technic brick, and then this awesome new clip part, which I probably need 1,000 of. Anyway, the feathers can clip in here, and then we can focus on adding those all-important purple accents. For the backside of the leg, I'm going to use this tan color. We can build up this palm leaf so that a T-bar and robot arm can clip in. This will give us a spot to add those purple details. Let's go ahead and add that into the leg.
Nice.
Next, I think we should figure out a solution to cover up those pin axles. In order to get some connection points on the front here, I'm actually going to do some surgery and replace the blue pins with some of these flick-fire missile parts.
Okay.
Then, those sockets can get reattached.
Oh!
Let's get this back in place too. We can fill in the backside of the ankle with some bullrock eyes and a little system. Now, with the flick-fire missiles in place, we have a pair of studs which we can use to attach in some slopes and clean up the front. While we continue detailing this lower leg, I just wanted to take a quick second to thank my amazing patrons over on Patreon. Your contributions allow me to go out and get new building blocks, like this fancy curved slope from longtime supporter Bradley Whitlock. If you're interested in supporting me and my builds, Patreon is the best way to do it. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. Thanks again for the support, and thanks for tuning into these videos.
It's like magic.
I really appreciate it.
It really
Anyways,
is, honestly.
let's attach this new subassembly in to finish off the lower legs. For the middle leg segment, I'm thinking these dark azure parts have the perfect scaly texture for this part of the leg. Let's build up some structure to connect them in. These brackets are perfect for the job. Let's thread this onto an axle, add a connector, and then another built-up socket. This one has the opposite brackets on it. With that in place, we can connect the scaly details into our brackets. While we're at it, let's add a few slopes too. We can continue the tan details on the backside with another tile and slope. Let's attach this to our foot.
Oh, that looks so good.
For the knee, I'm going to add 4 ball joints to this connector. This allows us 2 points of articulation, so that we can get a better range of motion with the knee. To detail it, I'll build up this dark blue system assembly. The rod here allows for it to securely attach in. With that done, we can snap in the knee. For a super strong hip joint, I'm going to use this newer ratchet joint assembly. I've gone ahead and built up some structure around that joint. We can use it to start introducing some mass to the legs. We can continue the structure with this assembly, which can connect in to the rest of the leg. With that installed, let's continue the dyno scales on the leg here. We can get a nice pattern by repeating these pentagonal tiles here. Let's make another section of scales to the side here as well. For the top of this dyno thigh, let's connect together these 2 slope parts with some plates. Then we can connect that in and attach the whole assembly into the leg.
That looks so good. I love the texture.
For the inner thigh, I'll use a pair of these armor parts, which can connect together with some more plates. Next, we can connect that into our leg. I have a couple more little sub-assemblies we can attach in to complete the upper leg. And with them in place, we can complete our leg assembly by snapping the 2 builds together. Now I really want this build to be able to stand on these legs without any other support, but I think in order to do that, we'll need a tail to act as a counterweight to the head and neck assemblies. It still needs to look good, so I think we can pattern some of these feather parts. Let's build up one tail segment. I'm going to use some mixel joints here, then we can lock them together with some brackets and a tile. Using brackets like this can make for a really strong assembly. Next, we can add a number of clips to the top. We'll use those to attach in the feather parts.
Okay. Oh, that looks so cool.
I've gone ahead and built up some different tail segments using the same principles and design language from the first one.
Those look so cool.
Let's connect them together. For the end of the tail, we can use some of these unique lightsaber crossguard parts to attach in the purple feathers. Then, for the blue ones, let's construct an assembly around these minifigure neck brackets and some robot hands. To that, we can add a jumper. Let's connect that in.
Big tail, yeah, big tail.
And then, add a pair of blue feathers to these stolen minifigure binoculars.
I like that he just steals things from the minis.
And then finish off the tail assembly.
Oh, that looks so cool. And it moves! What? That's so cool. I love that.
For the dinosaur body, we can begin with this core structure I've built up. We'll need to construct the hip joints next. Let's get the ratchet joints installed for them. I do want to have a little more flexibility than the ratchet joints allow on their own, so I'm going to build up some structure here in order to attach in a pair of ball joints, which will give us another axis of rotation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oops, looks like we need a little more strength in this joint. We can get it by simply adding in a pin.
Yeah, the full build is going to be pretty big. I wonder if the Palico's going to be able to ride it.
I've built up a little more structure on the body.
That'd be so cool.
That can slide into place, and we can lock in the other side. This gets us a pretty flexible but strong hip connection.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
For the exterior, we can use these large Technic panels, which I have only because I accidentally ordered extra for my Echo build. We can connect them into place. By temporarily attaching the neck, we can see that the chest is going to need to be bulked up. The shaping here needs to be pretty specific, so I'm going to build up this detail with a lot of system. Coming from a more bionicle background originally, it's always been interesting to me the trade-offs between the two building styles. With system, you can get a lot more detail and build solutions for very specific problems, but you need far more parts to accomplish those intricate designs. While with bionicle, it feels a little bit more like the parts deciding where they want to go, and I have to figure out how to connect them. And you can accomplish a lot more with just a few of the right parts. I think that's why I like to use both systems in my builds now, because they each have relative strengths and weaknesses, and it makes the whole experience a little more interesting for me. Let's add that in.
This guy's voice is nice.
We can cover
too.
this pinhole with a half pin, robot hand, and a large spike.
Like, I wouldn't call it soothing, but like...
Let's use this Star Wars shin pad for the dino's belly. We'll have to do some surgery to get a connection point.
It's distinct enough that I can understand what he's saying, but
Let's
it's not
replace
like
this pin with a pin
raspy or anything. Like,
so we have a spot to attach in the shell.
I really like it.
These black joints down here could probably benefit from being swapped out for some tan. I'm using some of the old school sockets here because we're still waiting for the new version to be available in more colors. Looking good. Let's fill that chest in a little more with this
slope bar. He's very articulate with it and like
we
actually
can freely position it
to you as
by
he's
using
going,
some skelly arms
which
to
is
attach
very
it in.
nice.
Then a lift arm can lock that assembly into place. Next, I think we should construct some shoulder connections for the wings we built. This structure I'll build with a number of Technic lift arms and some axles. Then for the shoulder joint itself, I'll use some white lift arms and a small ball joint. We need some more feathery detail here to cover up the exposed structure. I'm going to use a variety of slopes and this rock detail to get the look we're going for. For feathers like this, it's good to balance the higher detail feathery regions with smooth regions. Otherwise, it gets a little too busy looking.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Up next, we need a way to connect the tail we've built up. To get that installed, let's do a little hip surgery and build up this structure here. This way, we can add in some range of motion to our tail and easily pose it when the build's standing. I'm going to assemble another of these ratchet joint assemblies. There's something so satisfying about that.
I was wondering if there was a reason that he kept turning it like that besides it just like sounding cool.
We can conceal that joint behind one of these Hero Factory chest plates.
I was gonna say, that looks like a chest.
To continue the underbelly into the tail, I'm going to build up some more tan assemblies. We can go ahead and add those in. On the top side, we should add some feathers to create a transition from the body into the tail we built. Let's attach two together with a skelly arm. And then use a robot arm, robot hand, and rod to connect this
skelly arms and
we'll want even more feathers
sausages
in the
all
middle
being
here.
like different colors is fucking
These ones
crazy
can
to me.
attach in with some clips and bars.
That looks so cool!
For the raptor's back, this Rakshi spine part is perfect. Let's add a connection point for that. To attach it in though, we need this pin to be a little longer, so we'll need to go back in for one last operation. Now the spine can clip in.
Operation.
To add a little more scaly detail here, we can use this leaf part. A rounded plate and a few tiles can clean up the leaves, and then I'll build some connective structure using a couple of bars and rounded plates. Let's attach that into the dino body. We can follow that up with some slope parts before capping it off with our scaly leaf assembly. And with that, our body's complete, and we can build up a saddle for this monstrous steed. Let's start by building a saddle using this really old backpack
like
part.
Palico being able to ride
A couple of robot hands here will allow for the strap to attach in via this rod.
Nice.
Let's make another tent roll while we're at it. This time, I'm going to use a brown cape, which I think comes from a slightly cursed Obi-Wan Kenobi buildable figure. A couple of elastics can secure the roll.
Blip.
For the saddle itself, I think a pair of these olive green slopes is a good place to start. Let's attach them at an angle with this hinge plate. Some sand greens sprinkled throughout this build will give the saddle a little organic variety. This funky subassembly can be used to secure the slopes in place and provide a centered connection point for later. Next, we can use this dark tan slope here. A robot arm and a T-bar can supply a connection point, and then we can build up that tan slope. These inverted curves are useful for locking things together.
It kind of looks like a
We
bun.
can add some tan to the back of the saddle too, with these curved assemblies.
Calming. That's what his voice is.
To fill in this gap, we can get a little adventurous and use this flag part, which if I build up just so, I'll be able to jam in place. No connection points needed. This is starting to kind of look like a turtle, and we can take that even further with some flippers. Let's use an Among Us plate for a connection point.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's add that in, and then build the connection point for our dino's back. We also need a pair of reins, connected to these snot bricks here. We can extend one side of this zip line with a few more brown bits, and this clip. Then on the other side, I'll add a chain link, and this whip for some more leathery strap detailing. This T-bar can give us a connection point for attaching this to the head later. We can add the other side of the saddle to complete it. And it's time for the final assembly. First, let's attach our tail.
Assembly! Hey V, welcome in.
Then we can connect the legs. Let's follow that up by adding the arms in. Next up, let's attach the neck and head. Finally, we can finish things off by adding the saddlebag, saddle, and then the tent roll, which I'm just going to attach with good old gravity. And with that done, it's time for the beauty shots.
There's the palico. Nice, nice. The Sacred is definitely the star of the show for this video, though. The Sacred turned out so good. Like, oh my goodness. It is so cool looking. He did such a good job with it. Big bird, yeah. Big bird. Yeah. It's just a chibi model. I have a couple other forms, V. I'll show you guys. I'll do a little showcase for any new people. I forget that we have some newer people here that haven't seen other stuff besides the plushie model. Oh, it looks so good. I love it! Ah, it's so cool. I love it so much. Now, can the palico ride?
Thanks again to all the amazing people supporting me over on Patreon.
He's too
And special
small.
shout out to my newest patron, SKJ Kara. You guys are the building blocks that make this channel possible.
Aww. Aw, that was such a cute sign off. Oh my god. I'm sorry. That just gave me diabetes though. You're so sweet. You're the building block. Aw.
If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this one too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, happy building.